contribution to the debate. There, Honourable Fijivillage, Tuisawau, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I rise to contribute to the motion at hand. I note firstly the thickness of the report and the time given to us to read through it, which I believe is not enough in order for us to contemplate, assess. So I agree with previous speakers. We are at a crossroads today in terms of our national leadership. And we are looking at an issue of privilege. And this issue has affected us all in terms of what constitutes national leadership. Not only that, but also the consistency in how we in the House deal with leadership and and privilege. Even though the committee is looking at Honourable Tikundondua, I note also that during the deliberations there were other issues raised regarding privilege on page 11, which also is related to the fact that who I consider as a victim is now the accused. And the recommendations there are recommending that both of them apologize and both, if not, they suspended. And I emphasize the quantum of what was committed by the Honourable Prime Minister, which is assault, and also Honourable Tikundondua, where it is alleged that he used the word house, and which the government side of the committee concluded that that is the Honourable Prime Minister's house, when we all know that he was referring to this house. And when he said that, when he was referring to this house, to put your house in order. And and for that, so they are asking, how do you know that? I don't have to know it because it's in page 11 there. Page 11 of the verbatim of 5th September 2019, where a female staff member was called as a witness regarding one of our honourable ministers, Honourable Sudhakar. So the female staff member, let me emphasize, said, I believe at this point he was drinking. I'm not sure, but amidst the conversation, Honourable Sudhakar was talking about something with some other girl. And then he asked,
Speaker.
I'm just reading the report.
Speaker.
Point of order.
Honourable Speaker, I am not the one on trial here. The incident, the recording here, the entire thing is based on a charge against the Honourable Prime Minister and Tikundondua. What the Honourable Member is trying to do is to put in incidents.
Order.
I'm speaking, I'm still on my feet. What he's trying to do is to make an allegation against me now. I'm not the one on trial here. And he's trying to justify his argument by bringing my name over in this thing. I do not know why and how. There's never a matter of privilege raised against me. I'm not the one on trial here. It is improper for a member to bring in my name over and over again, and I think there's a comment made by Honourable Lalambalangu as well. What did I do? I was never summoned to the committee. I wasn't a part of the committee. So here, to clutch at straws, what the Honourable Member of Opposition is doing is trying to justify the speech of Honourable Tikundondua by trying to bring in extraneous matters to say that it was not his house but his house. But we all know that Honourable Tikundondua was pointing at the Prime Minister to get your house in order, your house in order. And before that he was talking about the military, how he's not a good commander, he's not been a good commander. This is what that is about. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank the Honourable Member for his point of order. Give the floor to Dr. Tuisawu. Tuisawau, take note of the point of order that was made. You have the floor.
Thank you. What I'm trying to do here is explain that the house being referred to is that house, the Fiji First house, not his family or his house, where the basis, which was used as a basis for him to be dragged in when he is the victim. So in that incident, if he asked me if I was single, and he said, all right, I forgot that you're interested in girls and not men. And then he went on to say, or said that he saw us kissing. So what I'm trying to express here is that that house is not perfect. And these issues have been happening. And it's been highlighted in this report. And which is why I'm just trying to work out what is the logic of Honorable Pia Tubundondua being punished as per the motion. Because he's being told to apologize. And if not, he will be suspended for 6 months. As we move forward, Honorable Speaker, I remind us of, as leaders of Proverbs 14:34, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Righteous prosperity, a nation's prosperity and security depend on righteous leaders who prudently make decisions by justice and fairness. A nation's downfall and rule is certain when its leaders are influenced by favors and rewards. King Solomon warned his son against political compromise, especially the taking of bribes and lies by leaders, lest the leader be the cause of the nation's destruction. Our leaders should carefully heed this proverb to rule righteously. Rulers must have exceptional character, or they do not belong in their office. They should be so dedicated, so principled that they cannot be bought for any price or subject to any vices. Their character must be so strong as to mock any efforts to compromise justice, mercy, or truth. They should be noble, far above their peers, with fearless and committed hatred of evil. They must have one motive at all times, to make all decisions based on righteousness and wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the only basis for great leadership. Rulers must have an obligation to righteousness far above any duty or desire to fellow men or women. The fear of men or women or fellow human beings brings a snare. Proverbs 29:25, and so does the love of gifts. So I see the committee being ensnared in this whole thing, which was why they are making an unrighteous decision, an unrighteous, unequal type of motion which we are before us. Neither temptation touches great rulers. They see one singular duty at all times, to rule in such a way that pleases God. All men and women need little assistance from others. Able men and women need little assistance from others, as they can analyze and make wise decisions themselves. Men and women fearing God have the highest motive to use their power only for good. Men and women of truth hate liars and any distortion of the truth. They never put a spin on anything. They hate covetousness, cannot be bought, and do not love money or reward. Lovers of truth hate the spin the nation has been subjected to by Govis, Honorable Bainimarama, Honorable Syed Qayyum, straight after the incident, where it was denied that it happened. But then, as we saw later, it really happened. The effect of a righteous ruler is glorious, as King David wrote. He shall be as light of the morning when the sun rises, and even the morning without clouds, as the tender grass bringing out the earth, clear shining after rain. These beautiful similes present the glorious and prosperous image of how a ruler benefits a people. King David, that was a compromising and wicked rule of his predecessor, King Saul. He knew firsthand how such a government had shaken the security and hope of the nation. He described it as the foundations being destroyed, the earth and its inhabitants being dissolved, and the foundations being shaken. So this is the current state of the nation of Fiji, as I see it, as we debate today. It is a shame when presidents pardon criminals as favors to friends or supporters. It is a shame when any conflict of interest influences the decisions of leaders. It is a shame that Fiji First is now the total opposite of what godly leaders should be. When sound judgment, equity, and truth are exalted in the highest position of authority in a nation, the civil ruler, the righteous example, affects the whole nation. The nation will follow the lead of their chief ruler. Wisdom will prevail in public and private when a noble example is set in the highest office. When the total opposite is now happening in our nation of Fiji under the rule of Honorable Prime Minister Bainimarama and the Fiji First, the nation is not exalted by godly righteousness, but totally consumed with corrupt leadership. We have seen the examples of this, Honorable Speaker, from 2006 to now. The manipulation. There's a lot of things I can mention, but today I stand up with sadness on just sharing these standards which we as leaders should be following. And I conclude, I condemn the actions of the Honorable Prime Minister. I condemn the harassment by the honorable members on the other side, which is to me is total hypocrisy of the whole thing about debate about violence on women, etc. And I'm asking that we relook at this. Personally, I do not support the motion, but I'm asking that the Honorable Prime Minister resign. And because the whole thing right now, it's the way we are going on with the Privilege Committee and also the logic behind it or the rationality behind the whole thing and the cases being brought up and the accused, the offender now being seen in the same light as the accused. It's, to me, it's confusion. Confusion is reigning not only in this house, but amongst the members of the committee on what their role is and what we as leaders, the standards we should be setting in terms of leadership and determining what is right and what is wrong. It's confusion. I mean, I'm asking, where are we heading? Which direction are we heading if we accept this decision? And because the whole logic of what is right and what is wrong is upside down. And I ask today whether we are a functional parliament or have we become dysfunctional, because this is one of the characteristics of a failed state, the ability to, or the inability to determine what is right and what is wrong through the rule of law and through the equal application of the law as in the laws of the country, including the penal code, particularly on assault. On the quantum of punishments, we've heard Honorable Ratunengam Lalambala on his experience. For one word he uttered, he was thrown out for 2 years. This is one word, and not even in the parliament precinct. It was outside. And here we have a clear case of assault. Not only him, Honorable Tupun Ranindal, she was suspended for 2 years, and she ended by resigning because her suspension went through the end of the parliament term. So I'm asking you, where is the consistency? Where is the justice? Where is the equality, which the Fiji First always talks about? And the way this whole incident has been dealt with, all these high ideals of leadership, of being a statesman, of what a nation should be in terms of standards of justice, equality, and everything we talk about. They put out a lot of posters before the election. Integrity, equality, justice. Where is that? So I'm asking today, where are we heading, sir, as a nation? And my heart bleeds for this nation on where we are heading, because it's all confused. And the sad thing about it, is that the government side cannot see that. They are blinded. So I'm asking whether, are we a functioning state? Is this a functioning government? Or is it a failed state? or does it, or do we need to be corrected? We are at a juncture in our history where something needs to be done. And the only option that I'm thinking of, which would be good for the nation and the people, is for the Prime Minister to resign, and better still if the government resigns, in order for us to move forward. With those, sir, I condemn the committee and their recommendations and oppose the motion at hand.